welcome, boys and girls, to another of Cosette's Enchanted Journeys. What on earth does Jenny the Genie have on today? Well, you can see I've got my witchy hat. How's my witch cackle? Is it okay? I gotta work on it maybe. Today, Cosette has picked out a very fun story for us that has to do with kind of a silly witch, and I just really enjoy the story, and I always have. It's about Gritch the Witch, who wanted some piggy pie, and all about her search to find the missing ingredients. What do you think those might be? Piggies. Poor Gritch the Witch has a lot of trouble finding piggies to make her piggy pie. But I don't want to give away too much, do I, Cosette? Should we go ahead and read the story with the boys and girls now? I think we should too. All right, you know what to do. Let's rub our hands together and say the magic words. I wish to go on an enchanted journey. And welcome, boys and girls, to another of Cosette's Enchanted Journeys story times. And today I have for you one of my most favorite, silliest stories that I've ever read that I enjoyed when my little girl was a little bit younger. It's called Piggy Pie. I hope you like it as much as she and I do. Gritch the Witch woke up grouchy, grumpy, and very hungry. Her belly grumbled for something delicious, something delightful, something special. But what? It wasn't purple mouse tail stew. No, she ate that yesterday for lunch. Maybe some mashed dragon tongue pudding? No, Gritch wasn't in the mood for anything quite that sweet. Perhaps a taste of boiled black buzzard feet. That always made her mouth water. No, not today. Today, Gritch wanted something truly tasty, something really yummy, something special, and that could only mean piggy pie!
Yes, yes, piggy pie! I can taste those plump, juicy pink piggies right now,
Gritch said, smacking her lips. She hurried to the pantry and pulled down her old hag cookbook from the top shelf. She picked off a spider, blew off the dust, and turned to the secret recipe on page 342. Gritch ran her bony finger with the long green nail down the list of ingredients. 1 eye of a fly. She checked the pantry shelves. No problem, said Gritch. 2 shakes of a rattlesnake's rattle. No problem, said Gritch. 3 belly hairs of a possum. No problem, said Gritch. 8 plump piggies. Problem! Screeched Gritch. I don't have any piggies. How can I make piggy pie without even one puny pink pig? Gritch pulled her hair. She stomped her feet. She paced to the floor. She wanted piggy pie. She wanted piggy pie very much. She said, tapping the lucky wart on her chin. Now where would I find 8 plump pigs? Gritch thought and thought and thought. Ah! She shouted with a jump. The circus! Yes, yes, the circus! The circus? No, not the circus. You don't find pigs in the circus. She thought harder. Aha! She shouted with a jump. The zoo! Yes, the zoo! The zoo? No, not the zoo. You don't find pigs in the zoo. She thought much harder. The farm? Yes, the farm. You find pigs on the farm. There was still just one teeny tiny little problem. Where to find a farm? Where else? Gritch let her bony fingers do the walking and opened the yellow pages to F, where she found a very large ad. This was it. Old MacDonald's farm, call E-I-E-I-O, just over the river and through the woods. We have ducks, chickens, and piggies. Gritch put her broomstick in gear and headed over the river and through the woods to Old MacDonald's farm. I've got you in my sights now, you little porkers, she cackled as she circled overhead. Surrender, piggies. Gritch zoomed in for a thump, landing. She spit straw, fanned her still smoking tootsies, and lifted her goggles. There wasn't a pig in sight. Where did they all go? Gritch shouted to a duck. Hey, duck! I said, where are all the piggies? I need 8 plump piggies for piggy pie. The duck quacked here. It quacked there. Here it quacked, there it quacked. Everywhere it quacked. Wah, no piggies. What do you mean, no piggies, you dizzy duck? Gritch screeched into his bill. I just saw a passel of piggies down here not a minute ago. Hand over those hogs, you little quacker. No piggies, quack, quacked the duck. Gritch pulled her hair, she stomped her feet, she even threatened the duck with one of her most evil spells. The duck was not impressed. It wasn't even scared. It gave Gritch another quack, quack, and waddled away. So who needs a dumb duck? Gritch mumbled. Being careful where she stepped, Gritch wandered across the meadow. Yoo-hoo! She shouted. Moo! You! Gritch said to the cow. Where are the piggies? I need 8 plump piggies for piggy pie. The cow moo-mooed here, it moo-mooed there. Here it mooed, there it mooed, everywhere it moo-mooed. Meow. No piggies. What do you mean, no piggies, you lumpy-looking cow? Screamed Gritch. I need 8 plump piggies for piggy pie. Fork over the pork, you walking milk machine, or I'll curdle your cream. No piggies, meowed the cow. Gritch pulled her hair, she stomped her feet, she even threatened the cow with one of her most evil spells. The cow stared at Gritch, swatted a fly with its tail, and lumbered away. Cows, who needs them? Gritch muttered. She tried the barnyard where she stopped a chicken in its tracks. Okay, bird brain, where are the piggies? I need 8 plump piggies for piggy pie. The chicken clucked here, it clucked there. Here it clucked, there it clucked, everywhere it clucked. No piggies. What do you mean, no piggies, you feathered drumstick? Gritch screeched. What's going on here? Where's the boss of this heap of hay? The chick flapped a wing toward old MacDonald. Gritch looked him over once, twice. You're old MacDonald? She said. Don't look much like your picture, do you? The farmer thumbed his suspenders and shrugged. Look, Shorty, I've been quacked here, moo-mooed there, and clucked everywhere, all over this farm. I need 8 plump piggies for piggy pie. Where are the piggies? The farmer looked here, he looked there. Here he looked, there he looked, everywhere he looked and looked. No piggies. What do you mean, no piggies, you flea-bitten seed spreader? You must have piggies. Gritch pulled her hair, she stomped her feet. She even threatened him with one of her most evil spells. No piggies. Her stomach growled, it grumbled, but there were no piggies. There would be no piggy pie. Now what was she going to eat? Excuse me, little lady. Wolf's the name. Let me give you some advice. Forget about the pigs. Forget about the pigs, said Gritch, eyeing the wolf. He nodded. They're too tricky, trust me. I've been chasing 3 little pigs for days. He huffed and puffed. I'm starving. Look at me. I'm nothing but skin and bones. Gritch pinched his arm. Well, not quite, she grinned. Mr. Wolf, I have the most wonderful idea. I was thinking, since you haven't eaten and I haven't eaten, why don't you come home with me for lunch? I'm a very good cook. Why, that does sound tempting, the wolf said, as he looked at Gritch and smacked his lips. Are you sure it wouldn't be any problem? Problem? Gritch grinned. No problem at all, she said as they walked off arm in arm. I always enjoy a wolf for lunch. The end. And what did you think of our story today? Piggy pie. Poor Gritch the Witch couldn't make that delicious piggy pie, but I'm sure you noticed, because you're very smart and sharp, that all the piggies had on disguises, didn't they? They were pretty smart for pigs. I really enjoy this story. It's a lot of fun to read, even though it does make my throat a little scratchy trying to do those gritchy witchy voices, but I have a lot of fun doing it. So, since our piggies in here had a disguise, I thought it might be fun for us to make a disguise of our own. So, would you like to go and check that out with me now? Okay, let's go. Today we are going to be making a pumpkin mask disguise, and what we're going to need to do this is a large balloon. 18 inches or so will do really well. I found these large orange balloons on Amazon, and I happen to have a balloon pump which came in very helpful because these were so hard to blow up on my own. So the first thing you're going to do is blow up your balloon and tie it off. You might need an adult's help with this. The next step is to shred some newspaper because we're going to be paper macheing right over the top of the balloon. You're going to want to mix up some paper mache. I used flour and water to do this and a little bit of salt so that my balloon doesn't get all kind of funky and smelly and moldy. For my paper mache, I'm using about 2 cups of water, 1 cup of flour, and about a tablespoon of salt. You can adjust accordingly, but this should make plenty of paper mache to cover your balloon. After you've added your tablespoon of salt, 2 cups of water, and a cup of flour into a bowl, stir very well, and then you can begin dipping your ripped newspaper strips into the bowl, mixing them all around in there, and then kind of squeegeeing them out between your fingers and covering your balloon. Once you have your entire balloon covered, you can set it outside to dry if you're able to. I've just set mine in a bowl and I'm sitting it in the sunshine to help it dry. Now that it's dry, I'm bringing it in, and you can see here that I'm adding some glue to my paper and just securing it even more, and I'm also covering it with tissue paper. You'll want to use a lot of dark orange tissue paper, or if you're using a light orange tissue paper, you're going to need a lot of layers, otherwise you can see through to the newspaper. Alternatively, you can use crepe paper, which is what I'm going to end up using because it's a bit thicker and darker and hides the newspaper underneath well. If you don't have tissue paper or crepe paper to cover your balloon with, you could also paint your newspaper orange. This part is entirely up to you. While I'm allowing my balloon to harden and dry with that glue and paper on it, I'm actually using part of a toilet paper roll or a paper towel tube, and I'm also covering that with green crepe paper. And what I'm going to do here is make the stem of the pumpkin at the top. I'm also going to use some cardboard to cut out some leaves. I'm going to cover those with paper as well, and I'll be attaching those to the stem on the top of the pumpkin when I'm all finished. As you can see, I'm just using tape and a glue stick to secure this. You can do this however you like, and again, this step is optional. Once you're sure the glue on your pumpkin has dried, or your balloon I should say, you're going to take a needle and you're going to poke a very small hole in what you determine to be the bottom, and that's going to pop the balloon inside of the paper mache. You can see I left a thin layer at the bottom, so I knew that would be the bottom of my pumpkin. And now I'm just going to take scissors and I'm going to cut that hole that I left myself, and I'm going to be able to fit that over my head. The next thing I'm doing here is I'm just using a black permanent marker to draw a face on my pumpkin, and then I'm going to cut out eyes, nose, and a mouth. And again, I'm going to add that stem and those leaves as an optional extra detail. I finished drawing and cutting out my shapes, so now I'm using some thin craft wire and I'm adding leaves, and I'm going to attach those to the stem that I put at the top of my pumpkin. Once I'm all finished, I'm ready to try it on. How's yours going? And here you have it, my pumpkin head disguise. It looks pretty silly, doesn't it? You know, it's a little bit wobbly because I made such a large pumpkin and a large hole. You probably could do a smaller balloon and a smaller hole, but I hope you enjoyed this project with me. Are you ready to head back to the lamp and say goodbye to Cosette? Me too. All right, let's go. Welcome back to the Magic Lamp, boys and girls. Did you enjoy the story of Piggie Pie and our friend Gritch the Witch? Too bad she couldn't see through those clever piggy disguises, could she, to find her 8 plump piggies for Piggie Pie. But as we know, things aren't always as they appear, are they? How did you enjoy our craft today, where we made our very own pumpkin disguise? I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. You know, it was a little bit tricky getting the crepe paper and the tissue paper to stay softly down on top of my paper mache balloon, probably because this balloon was just so very big. I used a little bit of tape on the inside to give it a little more strength and to secure it up a bit. I hope that you were able to follow along and that you enjoyed this craft, and you could do something like this and make all kinds of different things, I suppose. Maybe you could even use a smaller balloon. This balloon was big enough to fit over my big old head. Maybe they need something smaller for theirs. What do you think, Cosette? Yeah, Cosette thinks so too. But I think we are out of time for today. I hope you enjoyed making the disguise. I hope you enjoyed the story of Gritch the Witch. Perhaps I should trade in my witchy hat for my pumpkin head. What do you think, Cosette? Hopefully this isn't too scary for the boys and girls. Woo! Here I am. And with that, I think it's time for us to say goodbye, and we'll see you again soon. Until we do, take really good care of yourselves. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.